In the last video, we talked about what endpoints are. Today, we're going one level deeper. We're talking about endpoint identity, because on a network, simply existing isn't enough. Every endpoint needs a way to be recognized, distinguished, and trusted. That's what endpoint identity is. Endpoint identity is how a network knows who is who. It answers a very basic question. When data shows up on the network, which endpoint does it belong to? At the most fundamental level, endpoint identity starts with addresses. An IP address is one of the most common forms of endpoint identity. It tells the network where an endpoint is located and where data should be sent. But IP addresses alone aren't enough. They can change, they can be reused, and they don't always uniquely represent a physical device. That's why endpoints also have MAC addresses. A MAC address is tied to the network interface itself. It's a more stable identity, especially inside local networks, and it helps switches and routers keep track of devices at a lower level. As networks evolved, endpoint identity became more than just addresses. In modern systems, identity can include device certificates, user credentials, tokens, and even device posture, like whether an endpoint is healthy, updated, or compliant with security policies. This is where networking and security start to overlap. Because networks don't just move packets, they make decisions. They decide, can this endpoint connect? Can it access this service? Can it talk to that other endpoint? And all of those decisions depend on endpoint identity. From a behavior perspective, endpoint identity defines how an endpoint is treated on the network. Two endpoints can be on the same network, but behave very differently, simply because their identities are different. One device might be trusted and unrestricted. Another might be isolated, monitored, or blocked entirely. This is also why endpoint identity is so important in modern enterprise networks, cloud environments, and zero-trust architectures. Instead of trusting the network itself, systems trust verified identities. Every request is evaluated, every endpoint is checked, and identity becomes the foundation of network behavior. So when you hear endpoint identity, don't think of a single label. Think of it as a collection of signals that tell the network, this is who I am, this is what I'm allowed to do, and this is how you should treat me. That's endpoint identity, invisible, essential, and constantly shaping how networks behave. If this helped you understand networking a little more clearly, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.